Okay, folks, happy Saturday. Man, people here already. This is the best programming you could find. Well, you never know what we're going to be talking about today. So we got the suspension kind of figured out. And we need to put the rest of these pieces, take the rest of these pieces off, sand these wheels, and we should be good to go to do the undercarriage of this Spavagen. Sorry. Years of calling it Spavagen is going to be really hard to undo. Habits and so forth, and aha! Fire my producer. My producer is not here today. Hey, Ben. Ah, good. You would have caught me on that, not having the light on. Happy birthday, man. You're shy of 40, right? You're not even in your 40s yet. Although you don't have an idea. You really don't have an idea what you're going to feel like at a certain age when you're a different age. I still say all the time I feel like I'm 25, even though I'm, 52? I don't feel 52. People go, oh, you don't look 52. I said, no, I don't look like other people look at 52. That's the problem. Maybe I'm the way you're supposed to look at 52, and everybody else just has substance abuse issues. 33 for another year, that's nothing. That's when I was a dad for the first time, 33. So that was 18 years ago or so, something like that. I don't feel any older. We were talking, I don't know who we were talking with, family, friends, or something like that, and they were talking about, you're going to have another kid or something like that? Or no, I think it had something to do with my wife's brother. I find it very strange. I have a very small family, so it's very difficult to call things like brother-in-law, things like that. It's just weird. I don't have anything against him. It's just weird to call him that. But anyways, my sister's brother remarried recently. He's damn near my age. He's a few months younger than I am. And he just remarried and started a family again. And what is this warning? Restart the latest Windows update. Why are you going to? No, I'm not leaving everybody hanging. I'm not starting a Windows update right now. Bill Gates, leave me alone. Hugh Carroll, good morning. Chap at the club said I had another 66 years to reach 100. Now I'm a little curious. Let him do the math during our hot cuppets. Sounds like one of those things that, sounds like one of those round and round conversations you have. Like if we're talking about, let's see, today's Saturday, right? So in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So in 5 days, is that Thursday or is that next Thursday? I always call the next Thursday coming next Thursday. So anyhow, it's one of them round and round things. Anyways, he just started a family again. He got remarried and had a kid, and I don't think his kid is. I think his kid just turned 1, something like that. And somebody says, "Could you have a kid again?" And my wife's like, "No," and I'm like, "I tell you what, I don't want to have another kid, but I would have a kid again." Before I'd go to college again. I could not deal, after going and moving my daughter into college, I could not deal with college people. There is no way. Just like my wife's like, we're kind of have the house kind of in limbo. We're trying to test the market and haven't gotten any big bites on it, but we're going to do some stuff coming up soon in about a week. She's been out of town kind of helping my daughter move into her dorm. I went in there for 1 day, and she's been there for like 3. She's coming back today. But she's like, we need to clean out, we should clean out your closet, because she's an ex-teacher, but she hasn't taught well, since we've been married, so 21 years. Like, it's just time to get rid of some of that stuff. Because I told her, I said, you're never going to be a teacher again. If you weren't a teacher 20 years ago, 19 years ago, 18 years ago, 17 years ago, 16, 15, 14 years ago, you're certainly not going to be a teacher now. With all the insanity that is going on out there. Yeah, there's no way I could deal with a college scene. It's bad enough to know, oh, this is busy work. Like, I'm not, as soon as I catch wind that something's busy work, I'm out. I'm not interested. And that's one of those scars. You figure things out more about yourself as you get older. And one of the things that I figured out is I have scars from childhood. Now, they're not severe scars. I think everybody has scars from childhood, like things you don't want to deal with again. Mine isn't, a creepy uncle or something like that. I actually didn't have any uncles. But mine is, my punishment of favorites from my parents was doing sentences. So basically, sentences is mental torture and busy work. So as soon as I find out that something is busy work in the real world, I'm like, I'll get out. I get out of it. I'd rather do something. I'd rather do anything else. Just doing stuff for the sake of doing it. No, I don't have the mentality for that. But anyways, there's no way I could deal with the college scene and I saw more people. I saw more strange people than at a game convention. That's saying a lot. And that was just on the outside. Let's see if we can reduce some of this panel line here. They decided to make the two wheels in halves, which is not so nice. No furries. No, it's stopped just short of that. But the thing is, my parents were ultra conservative. I don't know about ultra conservative, but I always had to I guess today's theme is my own confessions. I don't know. I don't have any really dark secrets. Not ones I'm willing to share anyways. I wasn't really good in school until high school. So one of the things that I had is I always had to I like to call pay for other people's sins. So I'd misbehave and shit like that, and it was for multiple reasons. Nothing serious. Never got into any drugs. But I wasn't great at school, and my parents would always say so Johnny over there, of course his name wasn't Johnny. He's a straight A student, and he went and they're always showing him, this guy can do this better, and this guy can do this better. Why can't you be like him? And I think things every parent does, right? And this particular guy that I grew up with, but I think I was 8 or 9 or something like that at the time, was really good at school. And they always kept in contact with him, the families did. And this guy was a straight A student. And I would do really good in school if I got the right teacher or if it was a subject that I was really interested in. They were a straight A student, and this guy ended up going out on a prom and getting in and drinking, and ended up killing 3 other people in his car. And because that straight A student, who never did anything wrong in his life except that, I had to pay for his sins. Like, well, you can't be out past 11. You can't be out past doing this. So my parents were super like restrictive of what I could and couldn't do. Funny thing is they weren't restrictive really of alcohol. That doesn't mean they bought it for me, but if I went somewhere and had a drink, they weren't like, they kept me from doing that, which is funny because I rarely drink. You know, it's not like it's something I've ever abused, but I don't know where I was going with that. With furries, I don't know what it has to do with furries, but no, there's definitely some people that dressed up for their first day at school. And I'm all for people being individual, you know, and not following whatever the government or whatever tells you to do, you know. As I've gotten older, I realize, you know, I don't know if the government is evil. It's incompetent, but regardless of what country you live in, and it's probably corrupt for whatever reason, but I'm fine with following your own thing, but there's just some things that just like, you should try to look your best. Just, you know, I mean, I couldn't look better than I did when I was growing up because I didn't have rich parents that bought me all kinds of the cool stuff. You know, I didn't have designer clothes or none of that stuff. I have some now, but I buy them at a freaking discount. You know, I mean, you got to be smart with your money. It's like, who wants to throw money away? But, you know, when you're a kid, when you're an adolescent, especially like you're like a, you know, in like middle school and stuff like that, you know, life is tough. You know, you have no responsibilities. And if you've got rich parents, you know, you look down on everybody else. And I wasn't one of those, you know, I really didn't lack anything growing up, but I wasn't one of the cool kids, you know. Thought you were going to say you were forced into being a mascot. Absolutely not. No, no. That would be more involved in sports than I've ever been if I was a mascot. But anyhow, so like I said yesterday, I would not want the idea of going back in time to any time before, like I lived on my own and worked. And, you know, I've been without stuff for a good part of my life, so I don't ever want to go back to that. So I try to be, you know, I try to be frugal with things that you can be frugal with. You know, there's like, as I like to say, there's no point in throwing money at something because we don't all have an unlimited amount of it. So, you know, if you're using sandpaper, don't use it one time and throw it away. You know, try to use it until you can't use it anymore. You know, stuff like that. You said mascot, and I think I really need to go back and finish watching Blue Mountain State. That was really, really funny. I think there's a little bit of a gap, but I don't think it's enough that I need to use any gap filling stuff for it. I think this should be able to do fine. Is Mr. Vacuum Cleaner around here somewhere? Because this is a perfect call for it. I know it is somewhere, but I don't know where the hell it traveled to. Here it is. Okay, we'll keep it standby. Miss Sucker Upper. Oh. First time ever. And just a little nick. Perfect. Don't want to waste my blood. I got good blood. I've probably nicked myself. That's funny. It was like grabbing it like that. I've probably nicked myself maybe doing modeling ever. Maybe 3 times. This is probably the 3rd one. Sorry it wasn't more glorious and there wasn't more blood. Where you really don't want to cut yourself is on the end of the finger. You'll bleed like for a week. And it won't even hurt. There seems to be a correlation, at least I've noticed. The more you bleed, obviously within reason, the less it hurts. I was moving something out of into my daughter's dorm. Actually, I was getting ready to use the dolly into my daughter's dorm, and I guess there was a sharp part on it, and I leaned it on my knee, and I'm like, you know, it's almost like you hit like a funny bone. That's what it felt like, and bled and bled and bled the other day, and I'm like, it must have been like a cut scrape or something, you know. And I've got certain parts of my body that my skin is thinner than others because of my skin condition, and knees is one of them. But anyhow, everybody's favorite sound. I do my own stunts. You'll have to keep track of this one now and see if the blood brings a curse or blessing to the vehicle. Hold on a second. Okay, now there's blood on the vehicle. Now we can do it because there wasn't anything on it before. Crap! It's a vehicle I have two of. How am I going to keep a track of them? I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened more. You know, I do all the time. You're cutting stuff like this, and you cut towards your finger, and you have to. Because, you know, but, I mean, I have a lot of practice in doing that. That was just being careless and being in a hurry. Oh, now we're bleeding more. Well, I don't know where the Band-Aids in. My wife probably took them all. I had a guy that I knew that would get super glue and he'd super glue himself. I'm like, that's can't be good for you. There's got to be shit in the super glue that could work its way back into your blood. Oh, man. All good. It didn't even hurt. I couldn't even know that it was... That's supposed to happen to you when you're wearing a white shirt. I had a restaurant that I went to many, many years ago. I was already married, but let's say it was 15 years ago. And it was this restaurant that everybody thinks really highly of in St. Augustine. It's supposedly a Spanish restaurant, but it's an extremely poor excuse for one. It's Spanish/Cuban restaurant. And I ordered a plate of food. I sat at a table with other people. It was like 6 of us or whatever. And they actually spilled the fucking food on my shorts. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen that happen before. Didn't get on my shirt, just on my shorts. My shorts were a buff color, kind of like this. And I still have them to this day. And all of it came out. I don't know how. It was like, it was this dish called ropa vieja, which is literally old clothes, but it's basically a shredded beef, like stewed shredded beef and like a tomato sauce kind of blend or whatever. It's actually pretty tasty, but I don't want it on my shorts. I tend to not make a mess when I eat, so that's kind of like an extreme thing. So, yeah. Can't believe that happened. I've actually never had something spilled on me except that one time. So, das Panzerblutwagen. Panzerspähblutwagen. Yeah, I gotta think when I call that. I've called it spa-wagens for so long and said it wrong, but kind of like this stuff right here. When I worked at the store, we always would call this brand Tamaya. Now, I know now looking at it, it doesn't make sense, especially since the Japanese have a heavy cruiser that's called Maya, and it's Maya. So why we would call this the same way, I don't know, but I still catch myself saying Tamaya all the time. But I don't claim to speak Japanese, and you know what? This is our letters, so we can call it whatever we want. If it was in their characters, then I would, All right, I need to put the wheels on so I can figure out how these fender things go, because these instructions are not the best. All right, so we've got all the wheels done. And we've done all these parts here. Let's go ahead and cut the rest of the 26As out, which there should be 6 more. We good? We sealed? We good? I'm not a Romanov. I should be able to seal up pretty good. All right. Yeah, I don't want any serfs to abuse. Sorry, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to be told what to do, and I don't want to tell people what to do. Let's just leave each other alone. I drive by people sometimes and I notice things that they have on their vehicles. And one of the things that I've noticed some people have on their vehicles is these little crowns. I don't mean the ones that were on the dashboard that were popular in the early 1990s. I mean, you know, just like stickers and stuff. You know, like you're some kind of royalty or something like that. And I'm like, I don't know why you feel like you need to do that. Like, I'm not related to anybody royal, and I'm proud of it, because those people are weird. You know, they're inbred and they're weird. I told the guy at work, I'm like, why do people do that? He's like, I don't know, maybe they think they're a queen. I said, well, what's the flag of your country? What's the name of your country? I wouldn't make a good royal. I'd want to leave people alone. Like, if I was like uber rich, like Bill Gates or somebody, I wouldn't be meddling in shit. I'd go buy my own island. And no, I wouldn't put some temple on it with blue and white stripes. And it'd be bigger than that shitty little thing. Design my own flag and just forget about everybody else. But then I don't really have an ego issue. Okay, I think this is extra. I think this is an extra piece on here, but I may leave it in there. No, I'm not. Okay. This ends here. Ben, are you a fan of the Royals? Or Royals of any kind? Not necessarily any people in particular. I don't think that's a... It's weird. It's really weird to have people that have a certain stature because of what they're born. It's like everybody should be based on your merit. Anything else just doesn't make sense. Especially in this day and age when, you know, of course, technically they probably don't have any power, but there's still, I guess, enough people like it over there. And, you know, in other countries, because it's not like there's only one country that has kings. There's probably 50 countries, 50 or 60 countries that have royal families. And it could be something as subtle as Brunei or something like that. You know, I'm pretty sure they have a royal family. You may not know who the hell they are. You may not even know where that country is, but this is really poorly marked where this goes. They're not too bad, but then again, it isn't like we can rise up to replace them with some others. So we're either stuck with these lot, or none at all. Yeah, it just seems like, you know, I mean, politicians are bad enough that you can't seem to get rid of them, and now you got people that you can't get rid of them until they die. I guess you could have worse people, you know? I guess some people would love to have that job. I couldn't stand it. I wouldn't be able to stand it. You know, you had that kind of a job and you'd miss going to the grocery store, doing normal stuff. I would hate to have to act a way that I really am not. That's just, I just can't do it. I like being who I am. You know, and if you don't like me, well, oh well. Sucks to be you. Mr. Harvey, welcome. Last one, and then we can start putting this thing together. This is the opposite of a plastic soldier company vehicle. Have built all kinds of things that nobody picks this thing up and go, all right, I get to build the whole suspension on the bottom. You know, the main thing is because none of it really gets seen. So why put all this effort into something that's going to be hidden? You know? You're fooling yourself. All right. I think we can safely attach these things. Let's flip all these little guys backwards. And again, not described how this attaches. Okay, here it is. Here it is. So the two sides that sit above it actually fit on the flat side of this. Like so. Okay, that fits on there pretty snug. All right, perfect. Let's, we've got our drill handy if we need to expand any of those, which hopefully we won't. And let's just go ahead and put them all in. Yeah, they seem to put a whole lot of effort into keeping up with the royals here in this country, and I'm like, there's a lot of people in this country that don't have an English background. They're not my king. Not my people. I'm glad I did this in the order that I'm doing it, not the order the instructions want you to do it. Because it was starting to look like a soup sandwich situation. That's another thing. If you're working on something and something doesn't seem right, stop. Stop and take a look at it again. The instructions could be wrong. You may be doing it wrong, and unintentionally. Uh-oh. Looking for the hole. There we go. Bigger? Still floored that these things didn't come into service until like June of 44. I thought they were a 43 vehicle. That means they had to get by is they didn't make that many 232s. 232s and 231s. They didn't make that many of them. They had to get by with most of them for the war. I bet probably in early 1944 there was a real lack of armored cars in the Wehrmacht. A severe lack of them. Till these things came around. They didn't make this many of these guys either. Of course, in 1944, the Germans don't need armored cars. They need, they need to keep their heads down low. Yabo. It's Yabo time. Okay, so these are going to be glued in place, and I have half a mind to super glue them, but I'm not going to because super glue, you can't mess with it once it's glued. And there's these other parts that go in here. I don't want to put them in until the suspension's in. Yeah, these things attach to the other ones, so I don't want to... I need to attach the big parts first. Okay, this should be... top like this. Okay, and they attach. How close to the end do we need to attach them? And a lot of this is guesswork. But this piece that goes in these little links, that's about even with the spring. I forget what kind of spring it's called now. The spring with the pieces of metal next to each other that bound together. Old school type spring. Has these little nuggets that look like they're supposed to pretend to attach to this piece, which means that this needs to be pretty close to the end to have that look work. Of course, the other issue you got to worry about then is it gonna fit with where the opening is for the fenders. There's a lot of things to consider. What if I glued all these little pieces? It looks like they go exactly even with the end of this. And then I'll know exactly where these pieces fit because they have to fit even with them. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut all these little 10As out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to cut all the 10As, install them. That'll give this time to dry a little bit. And then we'll fit these in next to them. Let's do that. This is the kind of stuff that really helps me, like vocalizing. All right, we're going to do this, and this is why we're going to do it. And it's all these tiny little pieces that are right here. These springs of unusually small size. Talk about a detail that they shouldn't ask you to put on, but I'm going to just, I need to hold these things down while we chop them off. Okay, let's move these 4 little guys over here, and if I miss one, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, they're in the nether regions of this armored car. Okay, and these 4, so there's 8 of them, and they all go in these little notches that are right here, and they're bent slightly, and it looks like they're bent towards the inside of the of the vehicle. So they have a little bit of a tail on them. Let me see how they fit with the tail that they have on right now, or if I have to reduce that some. See what kind of a purchase they seems like they get. I think they're okay as is. So let's go ahead and put the first set in. All right, I want this message to go away. Snooze. Seems like computer never asks you to do an update when you're not in the middle of something. Like, why would I update now? Let's see how this goes in. Even epoxy, I prefer to super glue. Super glue, you can't get it to stick, you can't get it to stick, you can't get it to stick. Oh, it's stuck. And I can't move it from where it's at. Whereas epoxy, at least it gives you a little bit of flex time. And this stuff gives you a lot of flex time. So once the wife gets back today, supposedly, this will be the first day we'll have without the child in the house, because daughter's now out off in the dorm. So it's really kind of affected my wife more. I don't know that it's affected me yet. You know, it's just a stage that she's got to go through. You know, nobody to do her laundry. She's got to go out and do her laundry. She'll be fine. You know, she's in a pretty good environment. She's got good roommates. It seems like she's got good roommates. So. So if you guys were fans of kids talking in the other room while I was doing my programming, sucks to be you, because that's probably not going to happen again. At least unless she moves back, you know. These people that have these studios with no background noise, I'm like, you know, that's not real life. One of her other roommates is from New York, Brooklyn, I think. And they moved her down and didn't drive. I'm like, she probably doesn't have a whole lot of stuff in her room. I mean, how do you like move in with carry-ons? I mean, wow, that's just I also don't know how the hell you pay out of state tuition. That's just crazy. Unless you're getting a free ride. Unless you're getting a free ride, there's no way. It's like, where are you going to college? Say, well, where you want, but it's got to be in Florida. All right, I'm going to have these. I'm going to push these so that they touch. It just seems like the right thing to do. Having them floating there makes no sense. Okay, and I think the next stage is we put these pieces on. Oh, was there an actual notch for them to go? Well, that's good if there is. That'll be very helpful, assuming you put them in the right place. Okay, so part of these is like straight and then bends out. That's the part that goes up towards the top. All right, good. Let's install one. See how it goes. Let's go ahead and wet these pieces. Get them to start softening that plastic. Go for it, painting. Welcome back. Happy Saturday to you. I think I was looking for what the age of this kid is, but this is definitely like you need to be a fixer at your job for at least 10 years before you're allowed to work to get this kit. That's the kind of skills you need. You need to be like persistent and be like, no, I've got things to solve here, and you need to like question authority before you can like build one of these things, because it's like, yeah, these instructions don't seem right. I'm going to go my own way. So. That's sticking out a little too far, I think so. Let's trim that down. No, I'm not going to put the wheels at an angle. I guess you could do that if you're building a diorama. Every one of them's articulated. And it's got 2 driving positions, front and back. Hey, and even make you build them. And then you're going to hide them inside the hole somewhere. That's okay, I won't paint them then. Good morning, James, or good evening where you're at. Australia, the land of Oz. Excellent. What if I'll ever go to Australia? It's just too damn far. Maybe after I'm retired. It's just too many days off to go down there. It just takes too long. We don't get enough days off here in the United States. Unless you work for, the government or a union or something like that. Normal people, we don't have enough time off. Regardless of cost. And we don't have anybody to cover for us either while we're gone. That's the worst part. Getting into World War II. Well, getting back into it. Go somewhere like Japan or Thailand. I don't have a huge interest in going into Asia. I just don't. I haven't been to Europe yet. And supposedly we're going this year, but who knows. We were supposed to go several years ago, and it just didn't happen. So it's really difficult when you're used to taking vacations that are basically all relaxation to go on a vacation that you need a vacation when you get back from it to go on. So that's why we cruise a lot. Not necessarily because I want to see even more Caribbean islands that are all about the same, but that, it's just easy. And it's actually pretty affordable. It's a good value. So that's what we end up doing a lot. But we were supposed to go on a European cruise over Christmas time this year, but they canceled it a couple of months ago. At least it was a couple months ago, but I hadn't even gotten excited about it yet. It happened so far in advance. But I'm used to things changing at the last minute. You get screwed and all the time and just about everything. So it hadn't. I hadn't really been disappointed in it. I also wasn't thrilled that just about everybody in my family jumped on the cruise to go with us, and every one of them had been to Europe multiple times before. And I'm like, I don't want to hear this. Oh, you shouldn't go there because that isn't worth it. I'm like, dude, I don't care if it's not worth it to go to Pompeii. I'm going to go there. I'm not, if I got a cruise ship that goes to Naples, I'm going to go and take a tour of Pompeii because I'm probably not going to go there again. I'm 52 years old and haven't been to Europe once. Odds are I'm probably not going to go to that same place again. Just leave me alone. Especially if those people are retired. Retired people, may have to watch their money, but they can just be like, we're got to be super frugal with how much time we take off because, of limited time taking off. And also it's a pain in the ass because we got nobody to cover our jobs. Retired people can just like, it's a 1 week cruise. We'll spend an extra week over there. I'm like, must be nice. Okay, I think I want to set this on its tires, but not yet. And it's okay if it's not totally parallel because, it's going to be going over rocks and stuff. I flew to Sydney to LA and it was 24 hours. I know in LA is far as hell from here. You have any good tips for cleaning up that soft 72nd scale plastic? Would do a lot more historicals in that scale, very accessible. So the thing that I found out, I started doing 1/72nd scale when I was a kid. And of course, it didn't really matter because you're a kid and you don't do things right. All MPC kits for you guys everywhere else in the world, that's Airfix stuff. I had a few of the ones that they brought into the US. And then I'd always wanted to do World War II skirmish. In the early 90s, we'd take road trips to Tampa, which is a couple hours away. There was a hobby store down there called Emperor's Outpost. And I found these figures that I absolutely loved in 20 millimeter by a sculptor named Dave Alsop. It really sold me on this scale. I love this sculpting work. And I just got back into it. And I did that for probably off and on for about 8 years. Although I didn't have a steady gaming partner. And hadn't really gotten into the vehicles to finish them and stuff. I got the figures where I really liked them. And then, DBA showed up and I didn't do anything else for 18 years. So now I'm getting back into it. And the plastic figures, the one thing that surprised me about the soft plastic figures is you can't clean them up normally. It's really, really weird. You have to use a sharp X-Acto blade and almost like cut the stuff. You can't scrape because it turns fuzzy. It's really threw me for a curveball. I wasn't expecting that. If it's brittle plastic like this, you can, but if it's like the soft plastic like these Soviet tank crew, these are soft plastic. And the soft plastic figures actually have, see here's a little fuzz here. Just got to pull it off. The soft plastic figures, many of them are superb detail. Like features, I mean, they're really, really, really good. I mean, even the old Airfix figures, the Afrika Korps and the Eighth Army, they're excellent figures, even to this day. But they have some flash, and you got to trim it that way. And I guess the only catch is I do paint with acrylics. When you seal them, you can't use an enamel sealer. You got to use an acrylic sealer so they don't crack. But other than that, it's kind of nice to be able to use them because now it's like, okay, well, I can only use white metal. Oh, we got all these plastic ones we can use too. So, mix and match them freely. Pretty much 40K Kings of War, English Civil War. Definitely explore DBA to its limit. I think made the most of it. Yeah, 2,500 games. I'd still be playing it if it wasn't so. There's just a lot of issues that I just can't solve. It's never going to get better, and I pushed it really hard the last 2 years, and people for whatever reason don't want to take to it, and that's fine. It was keeping me from doing this. I can't do DBA and this because if you work on stuff, and I don't want to work on things where it's like I got to get this army done for a certain show. It's just too much work. Work got dialed up a lot. Our company's kind of changed hands, and it's for the workers, not for the better. So there's a lot of issues that weren't there before. And I just don't want to deal with nonsense, so I need something simpler. Like I want to work on this brum bar. Okay, I'm tired of working on the brum bar. I'll work on something else. So my new philosophy is I'm going to work on something, and it may not be to get things finished, but I got this whole stack of vehicles over here, and they're ready to be painted whenever I want to paint them, and I just don't feel like painting them right now. So we're just building stuff. So, yes, I believe the scale you can imagine of variety is even better than 28 millimeter. I don't love 28 millimeter. I'll never do 28 millimeter. I don't like it. I also don't like that a lot of people that play 28 millimeter play games that are way too simple for what I want. I've got a set of rules that came out in 2002 called the Face of Battle. They're really close to what I was working on, and they're real crunchy. But the way you do that is you just don't throw a ton of vehicles. So I have almost 100 vehicles. They're not all going to be used at the same time. Be lucky to have more than 2 vehicles on a side. I just build them because they're fun to build and paint, and like, oh man, I only got 1 vehicle. I got to pick 1 paint scheme. No, fuck it. Get 4 of them and do all 4 paint schemes that you wanted to do. Saloy and Light Horse need a weak range attack, edge-to-edge movement, needs more solid explanation. Yep, I agree on both of them. And you need to be able to contact like this or like this. And it can be done. So about a year ago, I'm like, all right, let's start working on our own version of it. Not to publish it or anything, not to keep people from playing the other one, but just to make it better. And between my workload changing, not knowing who's going to show up on a daily basis, like if it was just Mitch and I, we probably could have gotten it done. I don't know. Work would have needed to stay the same. Because I was doing a lot of heavy lifting with, writing stuff down. And it's just like, it's more trouble than it's worth. And I want to do something that's like, if you don't like what I'm doing, then don't play it. Not like, well, we're not going to play DBA that way. I don't want to convert anybody. I don't want to get into arguments of defend yourself. Well, why are you doing it this way? I'm like, life's too short, I really have pretty much zero tolerance for people that like to argue about shit. I made a post last week about the weather, and this one guy who I've been Facebook acquaintances with him for a long time. I've never met him. Like, just kept arguing about like, well, that app you're doing is is wrong. Well, go complain to the app, man. I don't care. I didn't post this to create fucking arguments. Okay, if you want to argue, go get a JD, man. Too many people like to argue and stuff, and I'm not interested in arguing. I don't need to convert anybody. If you like playing in 28 millimeter Warlord game stuff, have at it, just leave me alone, so I don't mind a Hollywood historical like Warlord. The Hex and counter games are great, but more crunchy simulation too. Yeah, everybody's into different stuff, World War II is kind of like my religion, so I don't want to. I know a guy. I know a guy who's a war gamer, and I think he's got a doctorate, and he's a history teacher, and his doctorate was in something Napoleonic, and he will not play Napoleonic games because he just knows too much. And I feel the same way about World War II. I can't play bolt action or anything vague like that, a figure this big, but he only shoots 24 inches away. That kind of crap, that doesn't work for me. So, it's just not my thing. And I don't mind this scale because most people that still do this scale are in the UK or Australia and stuff like that, and that's kind of where wargaming started. So it doesn't bother me any, I'm just one of the few people in the US. There's others, but one of the few people in the US that still does this scale. you know. And I don't mind mixing 176 if I have to. I prefer 172nd because the figures are a little oversized. So if the vehicles are a little oversized, it kind of goes together. But I got some 176 scale view. All my T34s are 176 because, you know, I got them at a guy wanted to sell them $2 or $3 a piece. I'm like, well, I'm not leaving these. So, you know. Okay, so I got a couple pieces down here, 5B and 8B, and I don't know where they go based on this drawing, so I got to look at somewhere else and see if I can decipher it. It's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a fun challenge to kind of figure some of these things out. You know, I actually went in about a year ago. I wasn't looking forward to building the models, but I am now. It is so nice. It is so nice to work with plastic, as opposed to white metal that I can only glue with either super glue, which I have no confidence in, or epoxy. Now I can still use those two things, plus weld cement of different varieties. It just, you know, it drills easy. You know, I don't like plastic figures per se, but I do like the plastic vehicles. So, you know, this falls on the ground and it probably doesn't explode into a million pieces because it doesn't crush itself. Not that I want it to fall on the ground, but, you know, sometimes things happen. Is there any drawing? I'm going to have to go to the internets for this. Of the undercarriage already built. Okay, I see these two look like they go flush with this. Okay, cool. So we'll just put them flush. All right, so if we have this upside down like this, 8B, 8B, 5B, 5B. Okay, so they go on catty corner. Okay, and it's a B, so it is a light colored piece. 5, 5, 8, 8. Okay. Let's do the 8s first. Okay, 8 goes here, and 8 goes on that corner. All right, let's figure out how this goes, because it just shows it like it's flat, but it's got angled pieces on here. And I like this whole test fit before you put it on. I don't know, it's kind of like working on an old car, I guess. Except I'm in the air conditioning. I'm not suffering at all. Oh, where the hell did you go? All right, there you are. Doesn't go like that. Doesn't go like that. Okay, this is weird. All right, let's think about it logically. It's angled one way more than the other, and this piece needs to be angled that way. So it makes sense that it would be... Holy shit, it's turning on me. It's got to be like this. I just wasn't expecting that angle piece to be sticking out. I would have thought that it would be towards the inside. I don't see this working any which way. Don't tell me the instructions are freaking wrong again, and this piece really should go over here, because it sure as hell looks like it should go on this side. Where 5B is. All right, I think it goes there. And this isn't the first time it's been back asswards. I'm going to glue it there. Some abstraction is practical. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of. I've never played abstract games. I'm not a fan of a game where you have a figure that's an inch or two tall and the grenade only goes 4 inches away. It just, okay, well then you need to make your houses smaller. You can't ever, if you put the figures touching each other, they're like 20 feet away from each other. Like, it's just not for me. I don't want to simulate that. I've played those kind of games before. I'm like, I'm ready to move on. Your wargaming adventure began with Airfix models and figures. Shame Airfix made 176th and called them 176th. I don't know why the hell they did that. But yet the aircraft were still 172nd. And I know it's got something to do with some railroad scale, but why couldn't the planes be for the railroad too? It's not a huge shame. They're damn near compatible. I don't have a problem with it. Especially if it's stuff I already have. I'm not going to just throw things away that work perfectly fine. Yeah, this piece goes here. Just like this one goes here. Yep. Oh, the Poles and their instructions. Actually, it's funny because the other kit, and this isn't a bad kit. It's got good detail. Same thing with the First to Fight, also Polish instruction set. Maybe it's a Eastern European thing, because the Russian kits have terrible instructions too. Yeah, that's where it goes. It's got it 180 degrees wrong. What's the age limit? What's the age for this kit? I bet it's 52. Well, we're not getting screwed by this thing. We're kicking this thing's ass. Yep. Yeah, I'm also not going to play games at conventions. The last convention I went to, I saw a guy, we were playing Lion Rampant, and this guy, who was prickish to begin with, it never helps when they're being prickish anyways. He had these group of like 10 28 millimeter figures, and he asked, hey, so I can move these, he's asking the GM, so I can move these guys over here, right? He's like, yeah. So he literally picked them up like this, in between the figures, and just threw them down. And I'm like, and the GM was like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm going to, best case scenario, verbally rape someone if I see them doing that with my figures. Life's too short, and these things take too long to do to have somebody mishandling your figures. I'll play alone. I'll play alone and film it, and I'll do color commentary while it happens. Ultimately, if I want a game, I can play a video game. This is just a way to use the things you create. And I'm like, the last DBA thing I ran, an award disappeared. It was, so I had spent, like the week before, which I didn't want to do it. I'd been tired of working on the last army. Now I had to create all these awards for people. One of them, somebody didn't get an award because at the last minute it disappeared. I had it in my card. I'm like, I'm not dealing with that shit no more. I'm not bringing anything to a convention. I'm just going to go hang out, have some adult beverages if necessary. Of course, they're not necessary unless they're necessary at work. They're not necessary on my free time. And just hang out and just have a good time, In the fantasy sci-fi games, world competitive play is great for buffing the rules, but tournament armies are boring to me. You like grunts. Yeah. I wasn't a tournament player anyways. It was just a way to use your own stuff. And if you don't use your own stuff, then why in the hell are you creating it? So it's all good. I met some great folks. I'm still friends with them. And I'm fine if they still want to play DBA. You know, it's not like I actually don't have anything against the rules. I mean, they're great. I got nothing against Phil Barker. I just don't want to do it anymore, you know? And I've done my time. I tried to make it better. It hopefully helped some folks, but I'm still going to leave my videos on my channel. It's not like I said, I don't have anything against it. I want to do this now, and I can't do both. And I haven't done this in 20 years. So okay, this is 24B, which is this piece that goes in here. So far, so good. This thing is, I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a break. Not much of a break. I literally just gonna go to the laundry and throw the stuff in the washer in the dryer. This is the non-hang-upables thing. Just split everything like, okay, all these things have to be, you know, if you got to do a couple of loads, put all the things you have to hang in one. Everything comes out, you hang it. The other stuff just goes right into the dryer. This makes it a lot easier to not screw up that way. Yeah, and there'll be other videos. It's not like I don't like doing videos. I'm just not doing any gaming right now, so it's kind of hard to do videos on it, on stuff I'm not doing. You know, and I've got impetus. I have other rules. I don't know if I've gotten older. I just don't want to do it anymore. I just don't have a big motivation to learn a set of rules by myself. I'd rather do something else. I'd rather do this. It's therapeutic to work on this. It's not therapeutic to work on a set of rules. You know, I'd rather either hang out with folks or build this stuff. You know, I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm saving all of my figuring out rules for this set of rules when I get around to it, and that's if I get around to it. I'm not super worried about it. Now some of you guys that are still on the DBA scene probably know this. They came out with another version that these guys are working on to kind of implement things. And I went on the Fanaticus forum, and just the back and forth about trying to dispel people's thoughts of what it may or may not be. I'm exhausted. I'm like, I'm out. I would have not partaken in that even if I was still doing DBA. It's just, I don't want to convert people. Like, this is what it is. I don't like that. Okay, go piss up a rope. Go somewhere else. You know, I don't go to places like, you know, I don't go to, you know, I don't join a group that's about people that love ketchup and go on there and I'm like, I fucking hate ketchup. I don't know why anybody would eat that shit. Like, dude, go find things that you like. Don't go find problems. You know? I mean, I have enough problems I have to confront that I don't want to at work, that on my free time, I'm like, I don't like that. I'm going this way. You know, I like avoid shit that I don't like. You know, it doesn't pay enough. You know? But I guess maybe I'm in the minority. Or maybe I'm not in the minority, but people that are vocal and antagonistic are a lot louder than everybody else. I don't know. Oh, what did I miss? That Salacious Ottoman Camp. I have some good memories from these. It's one of my favorite armies. It's a beautiful army. I really like playing it. I just don't think that the game you end up playing a lot. It's a fun game, but I don't feel like I did Ottoman-like things. I don't feel like my guys played like the Huns should play. It's just flat. It's like eating. It's like, man, I can't wait to eat a meal. Are you full? Yes. Was it good? No, it was just rice cakes. You know, it's like you're full from eating rice cakes, but it wasn't a great experience. You know, and maybe you had fun eating rice cake with somebody else. Maybe told some jokes over it. You know, but it's still a rice cake meal. You know, and it doesn't make me want to go buy more rice cakes. Rice cake analogy. Don't mind impetus. I think it's a fresh period is good. World War II is what you like. I'm a World War II guy. I've said it all along. I'm more of an Osprey Blue Book butterfly. The Osprey Blue Book stuff is okay because it's vague enough that, like Lion Rampant, you can add a lot of detail to Lion Rampant and just not use it for tournaments. And, you know, I think the core mechanics are pretty solid. Tournaments are to attract the sort of people I prefer to avoid. So I'm going to tell you something. I've played 2,500 tournament type games because I've logged them on. Just shy of that. I think at one point I played about 150 different people. 3 at the most I don't want to see again. That's pretty good odds. My DBA experience has been a high honor, high respect, happy experience. I really can't say anything about that. And those people that were unpleasant were not unpleasant because it was a tournament. They're just dicks, okay? They're dicks I don't want to deal with anymore. There's 2 guys that still play DBA that they don't play tournaments. They play pickup games at cons. I don't want to deal with them anymore. One guy is a guy who has a condition. We all have a condition. It's just different. This guy likes to ask questions, and while you explain the question to you, he's asking another question. And while you stop the first one to answer the second one, he's answering the third. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that fucker anymore. I'm just, okay? And then another guy just thinks that the world is out to get you. And it's really hard to help somebody out when you think you're fucking them all the time. You know, and this happens with your customers too, like in your workplace. Like, it's good to help your customers, right? It feels good. You want to help them out. You don't want to screw the company in the process, but you're there to help your customer. But if every time you're helping the customer, they have a chip on their shoulder because you think you're fucking them, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, I don't want to deal with that guy anymore. So that's the other guy. I'm like, I don't want to deal with either one of those 2 dudes anymore. You know? I always found your DBA videos very useful and entertaining. Well, thank you. And I enjoy doing them. I don't want to play and not do a video. Because all kinds of cool stuff happens that is really interesting and ironic. And I want to share it with people. You know? None of it's staged. It is what it is. You know? I don't watch television very much. And one of the reasons I don't watch television very much is a high percentage of the stuff that is supposedly real is staged. Like, who are you fooling? What is this, wrestling? You know? So, yeah. Could my videos be higher quality? Absolutely. But then it cuts into my production time. You know? I'm never going to be... There's a guy on there, my favorite YouTube guy, and I've brought this up before. Of all the YouTube things, this guy, without a doubt, is my top guy. This is my Dave Alsop of YouTube videos. And it's now the guy who does the car reviews is pretty damn good too. But the guy that does the 3D bot maker diecast racing, it's fucking incredible. It's absolutely incredible what this guy does. It is, I've looked at it. This painstaking amount of time that he spends, it's better than TV programming on NBC. He's incredible, but you're wondering, like, what's staged, what isn't staged, what, you know, so it's like, you start to kind of question everything, but the production value is incredible. I've said it before, if this guy lived in Florida instead of California, I'd contact him like, dude, your scenery. Let me paint some of your figures, because his figures are kind of just painted like, you know. I'm like, let's paint some of your figures and let's kick it up a notch, because the production value is incredible on this stuff. But I'm sure a lot of this stuff is staged. Like he does commentary, and the whole thing is they race die-cast cars, and it's very professionally done, and it's all done like it's a real race, and it's hilarious. But the commentary doesn't happen at the same time the race is happening. There's no way, and there's no way that you could be that quick on it. So you don't have that. It's not as real as, like, you know, when we do this stuff. Just don't roll a 6, and a 6 happens. All right, don't roll a 6 again. You know, and you're seeing it happen. You know, I don't know. There's just kind of I enjoy sharing that kind of thrill. Haven't encountered too many people like that, but I've heard some horror stories for some. DBA is very cool, but it's rationalized down the smallest practical representation of ancient and medieval battle meat and spuds. People like Homespun, you aren't selling shampoo. Bat reps are my TV. Occasionally play RPGs online with people, but that's a very highly strung hobby. Gasland. You know, Gaslands was a lot of fun. But I realized to make Gaslands work, Gaslands has a lot of loopholes like DBA. And I can't do more than one thing. I just won't be able to do enough of a thing to feel like I got anywhere. I don't know, it's pretty damn straight. Oh, this one's a little high. That doesn't matter. We'll make up for it we'll put a little goop there and it'll be all good. Honestly, for as flimsy as this undercarriage thing is, yeah, let's break it, Tony. That turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's put these other supports. These 9As go, where the hell did they go? They go here, but they don't tell you where they go to. And there's 8 of them. All right, let's see if we can find another drawing where they go. Okay, they look like they go here. Let's cut one of them out and see if we can't fit it. See, this kind of stuff's actually kind of... But this, I don't mind this because I don't have an agenda. I don't have like, well, I gotta get this shit done this weekend because I gotta use... Not going there. I have no interest in that. What is this? This is a piece, so it's black. Okay, it's one of these little knickknacks. This is like the... the bar that controls the steering from the column. Whatever the hell it's called. Okay, and it looks like the short one goes... Are they flippable? They are. Okay, cool. All right, so one of them is going to attach here. And I bet I have to thread it through here somehow. All right, we got to look at a picture of the actual vehicle. So, see if there's a 231 that flipped upside down by artillery shell, but somehow didn't get decimated by the same thing. Well, considering how little armor these things have, that's probably an unlikely picture to find. Yeah, we played Grasslands about 6 times, but... Okay, Harvey, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to take a little break, so to speak. Not really, but SGKFZ, 234, and we also have instructions on Scalemates we can fall back on. Scalemates is a awesome resource. Just incredible resource. That's free. You could spend all day just surfing on ScaleMates. 230, what would we call this? Undercarriage? Well, that's a long word. It's really long if you got to type with your left hand. Images, 234/1 undercarriage. Yeah. Images. Show me some images. This is one of those things you just leave off and nobody would know, but you know, the piece is there. Here's an upgrade. And 1/35th scale models help too. It doesn't have to be a 1/72nd one. Okay, here's one that has an undercarriage of an upgrade kit. Let's see if I can find a... No, not visible there. All right, let's go to ScaleMates. And ScaleMates is awesome because people upload instructions. Like I built that brum bar, came with no instructions. I went on ScaleMates, downloaded the instructions, done. All right, we want a model of an SD KFZ 234/1. Let's see who makes one. This is just accessory parts. A Puma. Puma would work too. The undercarriage of all of them is going to be the same. Here's one by Dragon. Dragon in 1/35th scale. Let's try that. Dragon's pretty detailed. See, there's probably instructions there. There is. Let's download them. We live in an age that doing this stuff is really a lot easier than it would have been a long time ago. Thanks to things like this. Oh wow, the undercarriage on this thing's even more pieces. Why can't you think of what that thing's called? Not a tie rod. Well, that's one of those things that if you don't use terminology, you forget what it is. Still scrolling down to see at what point they put it on there. It must be further along in the process. What? Wow, I don't see it in that drawing. I got to build another one of these too, so the next one will definitely be a lot less guesswork than this one. Okay, there's that piece, right? Okay. This is the instruction on the 234-4, but it shouldn't matter. The undercarriage is the same on all of them. And you need that piece to be able to turn, or the wheel won't be able to turn. If that thing breaks, you're going nowhere. All right, let me find one from a different manufacturer then. Let's go to the Italeri one, or as we used to call it, Italieri. Still floored these things didn't come out until mid 44. Okay, there's that piece. All right, what about the... I'm not seeing anything that resembles this. I see other pieces that do that, but they don't look like this piece. Okay. Well, I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not putting it on there. Or at least I'm not going to put it on now. Burning daylight. Worrying about stuff like that. Okay. Make sure I didn't have a message from you know who. Nope. All right, I'm going to take one more look at it. All right, let's go to this one here. It wants me to put the short end attached to this mini column. Okay, I can do that. But where does the other side connect to? It should connect to somewhere on the wheel, but where? Can't be to the CV joint. It's got to be to that piece, and it should be to the top of it, I would think, not to the bottom of it. And it's not shown here in this drawing. You can vaguely make it out here as this front one. Which is going to be attached here, but where does it go to? Seems like it should go like that. Well, regardless, I can add that afterwards because it's a part. We gotta. Why can't I remember what that's called? Oh well, if that breaks, your wheel isn't turning. I mean, my car has them. Every car's got them. Unless the wheel doesn't turn. All right. Enough of that nonsense. So we got that installed. We got these pieces on here. I'm going to take my mechanical pencil. And I'm going to circle this to remind myself I have to put these on. Okay, everything here is done with the exception of those items. All right, I'm going to have to install or at least test fit these. Is there any reason I can't install this already? They should have had me install this beforehand. So the next one I build, I'm going to put both of the halves together, because what that allows me to do is put rubber bands on it easy and it not mess any of this stuff up to get the two halves to go together. Now they want me to put this thing in here towards the front. There's tiny little peg holes in here somehow. And this rear part goes attached to it. Gonna hop on the Hannon site now. Hannon's, what the hell's that? Looks like a grocery store. Gotta order some groceries. Thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate you. You don't have to do the scale that I do. Just come out and hang out. You know? I don't belittle somebody just because they do something else I don't do. Okay, that's going to go glued like this. I don't belittle somebody because they do different things. I belittle them for other reasons. Okay. That's going to go there, and that'll probably tell us specifically where that goes. Because there's like these notches here, but there's nothing to notch. Well, this is supposed to be helpful, but with that piece on there, but it isn't. If you put it that way, I may end up having to take that out and not even put this inside part. I don't know why they make such a big deal out of putting this. You can't see any of it anyways. There's literally no hatches or anything that can be. I guess you could catch a glimpse through this, but you're not going to be able to see even these seats that are in there. And that's without the mesh cover on it. They're just having you do stuff just for the sake of doing it. All right, let's trim this up, make sure we're okay with it, and then we'll do some test fitting. And this is going to be a multiple step process. We need to glue this to the... We need to glue these parts together before we can attach this. And we've got to figure out how these fit on here before we can make sure that the right underside of the fenders go on the right place, because I think they're wrong. Just like these doors were wrong. Just like these little plates on the sides were wrong. So What do you say when somebody says, "How's that kit? Would you recommend it?" I'd say no. No, you gotta. I mean, it's fine. It just has a lot of pitfalls. And I'm not the best modeler in the world. I'm closer to that end than the worst modeler. But I don't get discouraged by shit, just because it's like, well, this broke or I lost a piece or whatever. I'm like, nope. This looks like it could be flash, but I'm not sure. It's not. I hope I didn't cut the other piece off. Oops. And I only would have cut it off if it was mismolded, and it made it look like it was flash. I didn't. Whew. Okay. These sprue marks are not in the most ideal places. And then we're going to go switch to clothes right now. Just take a moment. I'll be right back in a moment. Hannets, huh? What the hell is Hannets? Inquirings want to know. Is it Australian porn? Plastic model kits. Oh, I don't want to look there. It's all in the UK. The shipping would kill me. I check out a lot of UK sites, but not plastic models. There's better ways to get those here across the... Hannet's London Model Shop. Wow. It'd be nice to have a model shop again. I remember those days. Very cool. All right. As we were. So, we got to glue these two halves together. We got to see where the hell this fits in here. Let's think of it logically. This just shouldn't go like this. It's got to be in the middle. The middle is... This is so freaking wacky. I'm not installing this. It's just, it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose, and it doesn't work the way they have it installed. Okay. Fit on that's okay. Fit on this is okay. See, this is why I wish the next one, I'm going to put these two halves together before I do the undercarriage. Because then I can just slip these rubber bands across this easily. I should have bought freaking pipe cleaners. Because then you can roll the pipe cleaner around it and then tighten it as you need to. I said I was going to and I forgot. If I don't write things down on a list, I'll go to the store and just forget them. Let's try to put this thing together without the pipe cleaners, using what I have. Okay. It'll work. It just should have been easier. If you come on here to see me solve problems, well, unfortunately, you see that a lot. There seems to be a lot of little issues. A lot of little issues that will discourage the younger me. Let that percolate a little bit. All right, how about we use one for the front? Too tight. It's going to break something. Yep. That should be on there somewhere. I don't even know if it's that useful. We can just hold this by hand for a little while. I mean, the fit on this is pretty darn good. And same thing with the Ukrainian kits, same thing with the Russian kits. They don't fit badly together. They just frequently don't have a peg or a little line where something moves up against it, so you just kind of have to free form everything. Just like all this crap that's on these fenders, none of it is located on the fender. And the good news about that is if you want to build a vehicle that doesn't have any of that stuff on there, you don't have to take all these little mold lines off. The bad thing is if you want to build it like they say, there's guesswork in exactly where things fit on something. Not user friendly. Let's see if we can open this up a tiny bit like that. Let's put some fresh, there we go. Just a few minutes. The wheel is really solid. I'm surprised. I'm really pretty surprised. I have these tiny little mini antennas to put on there. I'm going to go ahead and install them with the understanding that I may drill them out later because they'll look better. Okay. I think we're golden. I didn't realize that the body shape on this is basically the same as the 231. In other words, it tapers down to nothing if you look at the cross-sectional view. Okay, now, well, might as well put these things on them. It's not like I can put them anywhere different. The doors. Where they told you to do the wrong piece in the wrong place. Okay, and this one's going to go on this side, this one's going to go on this side. So just as this is, are there any locators for this? There probably aren't. It's going to fit something like that. So based on this information, I should be able to decipher which wheel wells fit where. Because that's what stopped me from doing it anyways. Was they were telling me to do A and it didn't seem right. I don't want to get to this stage and then, oh, they won't fit in there. Okay, so let's take the two wheel wells we did cut off, which are these two, and make sure that they do fit in those places. Here's one of them. The other one's here. Okay, according to this, 15B, which is the one that has less bends in it, goes up here. All right. Now the vehicle tapers in, so this taper needs to be that way, regardless of whether or not it's shown on there. So let's see if I glue that in place here. And it also doesn't tell you if it goes flush with the inside or it goes inset a little bit. So we're going to have to just put it flush, and then if not, we'll push it in place. And then this one back here, same thing. Taper is going to go towards the inside. But it's this extra little crinkle that it has here that I can't seem to figure out. Oh, hot damn. Oh, this is elusive as shit. Okay. I was looking at this wrong. This should be like this. Okay, and there's no doubt where it goes because it fits up against the piece. Okay. And then this one is like that. I was looking at, you know what was throwing me off? This is the front of the vehicle, and because this is next to it, it was natural that this would be towards the front of the vehicle, but it isn't. It's actually flipped 180. Hey, I didn't glue it. And I'm actually glad I didn't glue it because I may need to finagle it a little bit with this, because the suspension is where it is. And you're going to have to fit the other things around it. There's just no other way around that. Hey, the second one we build is going to be a hell of a lot easier. Oh, it's transom light 30. That's at 9 o'clock. Okay. And this one's actually going to go on this side of the vehicle. All right, now that we know where this is, let's put that down. This is the kind of shit you go to college for. It's not learning, it's the process of learning shit and deciphering things. Yeah, you go to college to build plastic models. Yeah. No. Now, let's see if this little bastard will fit where it's supposed to go. Yep. Okay. And then same thing with this one. And now, we will see if this sits on the top of that suspension piece. And if we do that, will it sit on the top of that suspension piece? Yep. I'll wait for this to glue a little bit. Let's go do the other side. I don't know what to make out of these kits. They're good, but they are not user-friendly. They really are not. Okay, there's one. Don't know what happened to the other one. It's probably one of these parts that fell off inside the box before I even opened it. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it. I'll just cannibalize one from the other kit. I have 2 of these. Because it's here somewhere. And it's not inside the box. It's one of those boxes that's worthless that won't hold anything. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the other one and cannibalize it. These were about $8 a piece, I think. So, really inexpensive. But they probably had them sitting there a long time and nobody wanted one. Oh, it's a squadron.com advertisement in there. Strange. All right, the piece we're looking for is 17B. Now, it's here somewhere. I saw it. I just don't want to spend 15 minutes looking for it, when we're probably going to turn around and build the other one next. Okay, I'm going to leave this out in case it wasn't that piece and it was one of the other fenders. Okay, this is the one that we built. Let's make sure we install this one first. This one goes on the big box, or the small one goes on the big one. Okay, the taper goes towards the middle, so this one goes here, and it fits on there great. This is weird. This is a different color plastic. What time is it? See if we can make it to 10. Another 55 minutes. How long have we been on here? It's what I hate about modeling. Time goes by way too fast while doing this. Way too fast. Taper goes towards the inside. So this one should go like this. Really the only thing I don't like about modeling. I actually don't mind all this little figuring out I've had to do. I don't think of it as highly as some other people. You know, that they enjoy it, but it's as long as you're being successful, it's empowering. It's another ass you can kick. Another ass you can kiss. No. Another ass you can kick. Okay. Okay, let's make sure this fits okay. So this one goes towards the front here. And it looks like it does. Okay. Now I will put away this model. What's left of it. We didn't do an unboxing on this one yet, so. That'll be the only stage thing I do. Okay. All right, so we got those pieces on there. These are all things that go on top of them. So they want you to install all these little accoutrements on here and then put it on there. And if you do that, well, now hold on a second. Unlike the 231 that fits inside the slope, so the slope is like this, and the piece actually fits in. You have the slope of the side that's like this at an angle, and the piece actually fits, the fender fits inside the bend. It actually fits down in here. And if you put something on this fender that's too far towards this edge, it won't give you space for this to attach to it. On this one, it's actually a little higher. It's actually a little higher, I think. I hope. No decent drawings of this damn thing. Look at the picture. I believe it's a little higher so that I can glue those things on there. In other words, the edge doesn't overlap this and cut into the space that it has. Let me go look at a built one. Oh man, I can't even see. All right, let's kill this. Man, I can't even see my screen. It's so bright. Let's so if we looked at a built one, yeah, all that stuff is. I'll leave that screen up. All of this stuff it doesn't fit inside here. It fits like even with it, or even a little higher. But I do like the idea of none of that stuff being on there, because it's not in my way of molding this so that it gets glued. So let's go ahead and glue the two fenders on. Let's go ahead and glue the two fenders. This is the one I glued second, so we'll do it second. Let's do this one first. Make sure the fit on it is okay. it's going to touch plastic in all these areas along here. And along here. I can't really glue the other side because there's no lines or anything where it specifically goes. Let's see if we can grab this in a way we don't leave fingerprints. This is going to fit like that and that. There's a little edge there. It needs to match the other edge. Needs to match there. Oh, we're bending that out of place a little bit. All right, we'll just hold on to this for a little bit. Let's see if I can get all of one hand touching it. Let's make sure it's where it needs to be. It sounds like a happy frog. And we'll just hold on this for a little bit. Stuff I couldn't have done as a kid. Well, I mean, I got to hold on to it. Well, if you don't want it to unglue itself, you do. Anybody still here? Barely. I think it's going to be a good looking vehicle. Applicator on this brush is incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's the best thing about this glue. I mean, this is just like a 5-minute process, so. But definitely don't want to put the fenders on it until I know that it'll fit on the wheels. Everything else, I do it in the same order again. I would just put the two holes together first. And I didn't do that. And I followed the instructions, and it's not the ideal order to do it in. And it still wasn't a problem. It's just, look at that. It's held together. Superb. Superb, superb, superb. Okay, same thing on the other side. So there's two schools of thought. You know, do you give people a fender without any marks on it so they can move things around however they see fit? Or do you put these spots on them that might not be in the right place? I don't know how I feel about it. Rather than be marked where they go. And then if you build a second kit of it, then you can kind of put them wherever you want. Maybe fill that hole in. But if it's something that shows up in multiple different places. All right, same thing. Let's grab this by here. just let this thing do its thing for a little while. Let it go, weld a couple more on there, and we should be good to go. Honestly, I think doing this by hand is probably better. As long as you can keep yourself from touching any of the glue and leaving a fingerprint, which I've been fairly successful at not doing. You can apply pressure on different spots as needed. See what the other side looks like. There's a little bit of a gap forming. Let's see. Let's move that down a smidge. Yeah, it's probably equivalent with the other side. Should be good there. Would have never had the patience to sit there and hold this for like 5-10 minutes. Just not a big deal. And like super glue is a way, you know, it's just inflexible. Like it'll start gluing somewhere. Like, crap, I wanted to move it a little bit. Nope, you're done. Time to pull out the debonder. Let's look at the directions for the accoutrement. That has one drawing here with some of them on there. But the one where you attach it is here. This is going to be a good looking vehicle. These German armored cars are cool. Actually, all armored, well, Russians don't have any. Russians don't have any armored cars, unless you want to call like a white an armored car. It's more like a wheeled APC, but Russians really don't have any. The British armored cars are really cool too. Big fan of those. All right. Let's see. If we can't glue this on. There, seal that up a little bit more. Because it's not like I'm in a hurry or anything. All right, so we've got some jerry cans and stuff to put on there. Fire extinguisher. The ubiquitous jack. Sounds like something rude you say to somebody. You ubiquitous jack. Look at this. This is a headlight that obviously goes on the fender, and the arrow that goes to it isn't even pointing at the fender. It's out here in the Never Land. Like, you're leading people astray with your faulty, vague directions. It's a lot better than that inaccurate haul from Airfix. Turn the light on, it didn't even make a difference. It's just so powerful. It's only last for another 15-20 minutes, and then we'll be good. Okay, and this is going to fit in there. What a cool looking vehicle. Too bad it was built by rat bastards. Most of the German vehicles are cool. I gotta say that every time. You don't want to praise, man, this German stuff is cool. Ah, you're a German fan, huh? Nope. They're rat bastards, but they made some cool stuff. I mean, that's why the German stuff is popular, because most of their vehicles are really interesting. Come on. I don't want this. Attached in there just yet because it'll scrape. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to leave it so you can turn it that way. I'm just going to go ahead and enlarge this peg thing a smidge. Okay, I'll make that one a little bit bigger. I'll make that size a little bit bigger. Okay, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. And I'll do the same thing over here. And now when I put this thing in, it should be easier to take out. Okay, twisting it and yeah. Okay, cool. We made progress. Okay, excellent. All right, perfect. Time to put some accoutrement on here. Very good morning, man. Mr. Doug, how are you? Okay, so here is the bottom hole of this guy. All right, let's cut out all. Let's do this side first. Let's do step 9. That's going to be this side of the vehicle. And we need to take a 26B out. 26, that's this one, not that one. 26B out, right? 29B, which is the big like panel box, which is here. This one's kind of in midair. We use the nippers for this one so we don't get a flex problem. Okay. What's next? 13A, which is a shovel. Okay, the A sprue is black. A. 13A is over here. Okay. 7A, which is a fire extinguisher. Okay. A pair of 11As, which are jerry cans, not in 2 pieces. And 19A, which is a headlight. Which we're going to cut way back here. And then here. Okay, and then we're going to drill a little spot for it, which should be in the center of this, but I'm not sure. You're going to paint and flock some bases today. Fig's already glued. Remind me what you're working on again? What the flock? Happy Saturday, my favorite day of the week. Things are open. I don't have to work. Sundays were getting really good about places being open, and then the pandemic hit and things went back into their shell. Things kind of regraded. You know, if you had to go to the dreaded Walmart, you could go at 2 in the morning because it was open 24 hours. Now, I just looked at it the other day. It's 6 a.m. to 11. I said, well, okay, well, that's a little bit better than closing at 9, but some places I want to go at a weird hour to avoid weird people. The thing, if you got to go to Walmart, you might as well go at a weird hour because you're going to encounter weird people there anyways. Might as well not have to fight them. Okay. Now I want a little bit of this post showing. I want to see if I can cut this. Yeah. I want a little bit of that post showing because I'm going to drill it into the fender so we can get a good purchase on it. And let's see if we can hold that there. Almost 2 months since my workplace injury put you out of work. Oh, man. 4 bases of hussars. I think that says hussars. I have a heart there that's in the corner, like almost like I can give you a heart or something. And it's just in the way. That's something new. I guess I can do a smiley face too. Actually, it won't let me. It says, this action cannot be performed inside Streamlabs desktop. Okay, then why do you show it there for me? Why are you just blocking for me? Nonsense. Okay, let's find out if this headlight goes in the middle of that fender. And which it should. But, you know, it's the Germans, so you never know. I had to drive a Mercedes-Benz the other day, the livery truck, and those guys go out of the way to put everything in the wrong place. It doesn't look like it's actually in the center. It's like it's off by a little bit. It's towards the inside. Maybe 40% in there. All right, which side are we doing? We're going to go ahead and drill that out. And that one's going to be too big. Let's go down a size. Yeah, the whole drive, the basic had to drive like an Amazon truck. It was a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter or whatever it was. And every time I wanted to turn the windshield wipers on, I put the left-hand turn signal on. I want to put the turn signal on and the lights came on. It's just freaking weird. Just everything's backwards of what I'm used to. The transmission was weird. It was like in this little column that came off of the, almost like where your turn signals would be. And it's only like freaking this big around. And then, you know, you needed to push it in if you wanted to go in a park, move it forward if you wanted to go in reverse, and move it back if you want. It's just like weird. Like, just, you guys go out of your way to make this thing strange. Okay, so it's towards the inside. But it's far enough that this thing can fit next to it on the fender and not get in its way. Right. Let's put a little nick in here. And let's confirm that again. Yep. And I'm going to the nick there as well. I'm sure the other side has one. And I'm fine if it goes all the way through. Well, not that you meant to do it, but there's no point in me getting injured at work because I could still do my job injured. Well, it depends what kind of injury. I could do my job in a wheelchair. Not that I want to be in a wheelchair. Well, that's craptastic. Smidge bigger. No. I knew it was going to happen eventually. That's not working as. I need to get some rubber edged ones. Always these round pieces that are the issue. You have to hold them firmly, but not too firmly. Then they go flying. It's not a big deal. I find all the pieces. It's just a matter of, annoying. I'd use a bigger drill bit, but then it's too big, and I want to make sure there's some meat around that hole. There we go. Let's take this extra stuff off there. Check my phone. Okay, there's the headlight. Whew. Can't say because I'm on my feet all the time. Probably another month of recovery. Then back to the front, back to the eastern front. Okay, this piece is going to go up against the superstructure. And it should go there. It should be even with that split, but that's not necessarily where it goes. That's where it goes that it would make sense. And there's no markers or anything for it. So let's consult a built model. Let's consult a built model. Crap, why are you showing me the other side? Let's go back. I want to see the other side of the vehicle. Go back one other one. There's the Puma. It's so difficult to find this. Should be easy. Just show me the other side of the vehicle. Let's do a search. Let's do a search. SDKFZ 234/1. Image. No, I don't want undercarriage in the thing. I just assumed that I wanted that, like I searched for it before. Nope. No, I don't need that side. I need the other side. Okay, here's a blueprint. And of course it doesn't show that side, it shows the other side. Okay, according to this blueprint though, it's not even. It's inset a little bit. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to inset it a little bit. Now let's make sure that that works. If I inset it a little bit, like that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this here. And then that piece will go like so. All right, we have this drum of sorts. It's going to go back here. Okay, it goes from the outside in, so it's set this way. It can pretty much only go in one place because that exhaust pipe is in the way. Okay, that's good. That works. Okay, working our way down, we have a shovel. And then after this bend, we have a fire extinguisher, a jerry can, and this thing right here. So we got another jerry can. There's going to be like so. On this portion. Do we have a pre-built? Yeah. Okay, the fire extinguisher. Look at that. Oh, look at that. The fire extinguisher here is shown to be on this side of this bend, but here it is on the other side of the bend. You tricky bastards. You tricky, tricky bastards, all right? And here it's beside the shovel. Oh, you tricky, tricky bastards. All right, so we're gonna put it here. And the fire extinguisher can be right in front of it. Okay, cool. I actually don't mind having to consult like real photos of stuff. But I don't think things like that make it really user-friendly. Okay. And the other one goes up here towards the front. I wouldn't want to be carrying gas on the outside of my vehicle. Can you say okay, there it goes. Now we'll move to the other side. All right, and the other side has see if we can get a look at what this thing is starting to look like. That's a good looking vehicle. The front of the earlier version of this the 231, is weird. It's just really weird. It's like every time you put it together, whether it's a 1/35th scale model, whether it's a 1/72nd scale model, it's very strange. The front of the turret, the plate that the 20mm gun goes in, because it's the same, this cannon's the same in both of them. The autocannon is the same, and the one they started before the war with, and this one, same cannon. This one might actually have some more elevation for anti-aircraft purposes, but I don't think they used this a lot against anti-aircraft. That's just my guess. The front of the turret of the other one has like this plate that the actual turret itself fits around it. And fuck it, I'll show it to you. And the plate goes in kind of at a slight angle and is really awkward for it to stay in place. And I built a 1/35th scale model of it. That happened on it. I built this one. This one also, the same thing happened. It's just a very awkward piece, and it fits at this funny ass angle. Here's its earlier cousin. And you can really tell that this is a wargaming model because the cannon on this thing is heavy duty. Let's see if we can get that in a way to... The center plate, I don't know if you can tell it because the lighting in here is just brutal. But it's set inside and it's at a little bit of an angle. And it's just always awkward to fit in here. The front of this one's a lot better. But I do like this vehicle in gray. I just wish that this one was in gray. But as you can see, here is the fender sits inside. The fender sits inside this angle, and here it sits outside. When you put it inside the angle, you can't attach. Well, in this one you don't attach it because it's Plastic Soldier Company. But the ones I have by Rodin, they want you to put all these things on here before you put the fender on. And if you do that, if you move them too far in, the fender won't fit flush against the hull. So you can't fall for that one. So, yeah. Cool armored cars. German had some cool armored cars. British had some cool armored cars. The American one, I'm not a fan of the M8 armored car. It's just fugly. It just is. With that said, I need to build a couple of them, but it's still a fugly armored car. The turret is what's fugly about it, honestly. Particularly in a combat zone, not a good idea to carry on the outside of the vehicle. I just don't see anything good that can come from it. You know, rifle round, you got problems on your hands. You know, you got problems on your hands when something like that happens. We're getting close to 10. Yeah, we're getting close to 10. But here's the thing. This has a lot of delicate parts. It's pretty freaking durable. I mean, we're not going to throw it up against a wall or anything, or a door, but... You know, when you use weld cement, by the time you're done, you go from 50 pieces to one piece. It's all one piece. It's all glued together. All right, so we got a couple jerry cans. Let's see if we can get through this. I don't want to do this for too long. I may fuck up my neck. Although, I have the chair at the height it's supposed to be. All the way against the bottom. I should be okay. I raised this thing 3 inches. I gave myself a freaking neck for like a week. I was in pain. You'd think 3 inches wouldn't make that much of a difference, but... it does when it comes to your neck. Okay, that's the 4 jerry cans that go there. Another fire extinguisher. Wow, you guys are just, well, maybe you wouldn't need 2 fire extinguishers if you didn't carry the freaking thing on the outside. Now we have a shovel here, but she's all bent. So I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but we'll go ahead and take it out. The ubiquitous jack. I remember it being over here. Yep. Okay. 23B, another B piece. And of course 27 goes here. That's the other little piece towards the rear. 20 who? 23. Oh, this thing. Boy, that is small. Got that one, got that one, got that one, got that one, got that one. We'll put the antennas on afterwards. And 19A, the other headlight. Well, this has been a much more pleasant experience ever since I got these clippers. Because a lot of these small parts from certain manufacturers are kind of brittle, this being one of them. And in cutting them, you end up putting pressure on it and bending a little bit, it'll crack it and it wants to start bending. But this one just like cuts it in place. You move on. So yeah, this is a Tamiya thing. This is like the thin one. You look at it, it's like this isn't that thin. But if you look at the profile, it's pretty thin. You can get in there and cut things that are small. This thing's amazing. I wish the balance on it was a little better. It's a little front heavy, a little bit. And sometimes the meat on your finger gets stuck in here. You got to be careful. You don't pinch yourself. I haven't pinched myself completely. Other than that, it's perfect. I think it was like 24 bucks. It's worth every penny of it. It's excellent. But I'm also planning on never replacing it. So, you know, I don't go and cut metal things with it. You know, you got to take care of your investments. But I've built a couple models now with it, maybe 3 or 4, and it has been, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a game changer. It has certainly made me not worry about taking some pieces off the sprue like I was. So, you know, it's really annoying when you're being really careful with something and it still gets damaged and messed up. Like, I feel like I'm pretty careful with everything I do. So if something gets messed up the way I'm doing it, maybe I need to do it a different way, because like I said, if I'm having issues with this kit, other people are really having issues with it. Because I feel like I'm pretty patient. I got some pretty good skills. I got some pretty good tools. I'm not on a speed agenda that I have to get this done by a certain time. Cut that there. And the worst thing about these little parts, because they're really not that little. I mean, I've been doing miniatures for my whole life, so this is bigger than a lot of things that I deal with. And yeah, don't go there. And it's, you know, there's just nowhere to hold them. There's nowhere to hold them while you sand them. I have my contacts out, so I've got a built-in 6.0 magnification, which, you know, I don't know if that makes that much of a difference. I'm enjoying the little nooks and crannies of the pieces a little bit better than maybe somebody who has regular 20/20 vision. Look at that, it just bent back. Perfect. Excellent. Now, we have the spot for the headlight. Let's just go ahead and do that now. Let's make sure I'm not laying on top of something else and then pick it up and drop it on the floor somewhere and it rolls way the hell over there and I waste a lot of time looking for it. As I will find you. I have a special set of skills to finding the piece. I will find you and I will kill you. Okay, and now I'm not even going to fool with this X-Acto knife nonsense. I'm just going to put the next bigger drill bit and just drill it through. I spent way too much time on something that should have been simple. But now we can just kind of do it gently, because we're just enlarging this. Just like that. But you do work a good pace. I just want to be consistent. You know, it helps having you guys around and I'm talking to myself and, you know, I'm self-coaching. Okay, now we do this. Okay, we can't do that. All right, why can't we do it? Because of this. You know, just kind of walking your way through it. I enjoy talking to myself. You know, if not filming, I wouldn't be talking to myself, and I do a better job. It's more gratifying talking your way through stuff. Come on, you curvy bastard. Why are you so difficult? Get in there, get in there, get in there, get in there. Pop up. There we go. Now let's rotate this little guy. So she's facing forward to spot some communists. Okay. And this one also has a fire hazard. Here and here. See, I got you two of these armored cars, so they're going to be different. You know, a couple jerry cans will be missing or something like that on the other one, just to make them different. We'll build one of them as is, built as recommended, and the other one not. On some of these accoutrements. Okay. And the fire extinguisher, we'll see if that's where that really goes. We're going to put this guy towards the back because we already know where it is. We didn't do it backwards, did we? Oh, I hope I didn't do it backwards. Dang it, I was careful. It's not a big deal. I'll just know. I did. All right, let's try to release this if we can. How did I do that? Let's try to de-weld this. If not, we'll leave it as it is. We'll leave it as it is. There's just a one little angle and it goes the other way. Well, this one will also be wrong. Unless it dewelded right now. Nope, it's not that big of a deal. Shit happens, man. Sometimes you just got to deal with it, make the best of it. It's not critical. If it was critical, I could find a way to get it off. But it's like, there's no point in damaging something else for that. All right, let's consult the other photo, which is this one here. Okay, perfect. Okay, the radio. Slopes that way. So that needs to be towards the rear. And side view. That's what I should do. I should just take a vehicle and just, okay. It is just past the opening here of that side door. All right. And it's in the middle, isn't it? Right there. And it's going to go like this. Okay. Then here, the shovel is going all the way up against here. Which part goes forward? Which part did they recommend going forward? That one, okay. So the shovel goes here. And the jack goes between the shovel and this radio thing. Okay. And then there's two gas cans that go over here. And then what we'll do is when we build the next one, I'm just going to consult not these instructions, but actual pictures, and they'll probably be a little different. And that way they don't look exactly the same. Because a lot of these things are removable. I certainly wouldn't want the gas back here. As you get a fire and it goes into the freaking engine, you're McFlurried. And the small part of the fire extinguisher goes towards the top. Okay. That's all the nicks and knacks on that. We've skipped over that on purpose. What else are we missing? Of course, the wheel on the back. It's a little distracting for this to be in different color plastics. 20, that's the part that attaches the wheel. All right, take that off. Move her over there. Is there anything left on this sprue? Yes. This thing. Okay, now we can put this thing on here. This is the minimalist bumper for the front of this. Wouldn't take long to crumple this. I'd get some of those sanding sticks, but I don't feel like they last very long. And this you can just form this in whatever shape you want. And go super light with it anyways. The first thing you notice when you go back to plastic from white metal, you gotta be really light with your touch. Really, really light. You gotta be like a butterfly chiropractor sometimes. Test fit. That goes there, that goes there. Where's the other attachment points? Oh, you crazy bastards. Now, let's take this, let's turn it backwards so we don't clip it unintentionally. That's gonna go that there and that's gonna go there. So let's attach that to those points first. Okay, well I'm going to attach it here to this part and this part. Okay, that makes sense. That's where it would be. These tweezers are incredible. And I don't know where the hell my dad, I'm pretty sure I got these from my dad. They're made in Switzerland. And actually priced, I went and tweezers from Switzerland. You want how much? I mean, it's like as much as this thing. I'm like, no. I'll hope I don't lose this one. That's paying $20 for a pair of tweezers. I mean, I'm worth it and all, but some things just aren't a good value. Okay. What else we got? Oh, the rear wheel. Okay, let's put that thing together. The spare. One spare wheel for 8. It just doesn't seem like a good percentage. But I'm sure this thing can run on 4 if they're in the correct place. And this is a complicated vehicle. It probably cost them as much to make this as like a Panzer III. I wouldn't be surprised. Lots of articulation and maybe that's why they were armed with the 20mm cannon. 20mm cannon is just strong enough to destroy anything that's not really a threat to them, but anything that's bigger than that, they just need to get out of there. Don't want to sacrifice your elite recon troops. You used to exchange heads and arms between plastic figures. I've done very, very little of that. Very, very little. And very, very little of it in white metal also. Let's put a big slurry of this. Oh, wait, is there another piece that goes with this? No? Oh, because this is the inside. Well, that's strange. Never really considered that. Which means when we glue this piece, it's going to be gluing into here. And it's going to be gluing like so. And then wow, that's like a job for super glue. Well, no, actually it's not. We'll weld that there, and I'm probably going to need something to stand this thing up on. Does it touch anywhere else? It may. I'll soften that just to be safe. There. Now, make sure it's vertical. That's how it's going to go. Are the tires Inflated or solid? So that's one of the things that are one of the first things I need to figure out about this skirmish game, right? Which I haven't actually used the vehicles. I believe they're inflated. I believe they're inflated. But that's one of the things. If you have a skirmish set of rules, pull out a truck, pull out an Opel Bits truck, and set up a scenario where you've got 4 or 5 guys with bolt action rifles, and Opel Blitz, in one spot ambushing on a road. Okay. Bolt action rifles first, then you can add other things later. And take an Opel Blitz truck, all right? And it starts on the other side, and it's got to get through there. So it's going to take some rifle fire. So what kind of rifle? What can the rifles do to a truck that's basically unarmored? And just see how the rules handle that. I haven't done that. I will do that. And then add a submachine gun and see how they handle that. And then how about deal with an armored car, something that you can damage the wheels, and just see how that handles that kind of stuff. Because that's one of those things that I'm pretty sure rifle bullets will mess up these wheels. I would put money on it that it would. They're just not meant. They're not meant for that. If they were solid wheels, this thing would ride like crap. But I'm pretty sure that they're inflatable. It would just. I can just imagine. We have some vehicles at work that have solid tires, and you would not want to drive them over anything. They're rough as it is over just a slab. So I'm going to guess that they're inflatable. What else do we have to do on here? Well, we have to put the top of it. And to do the top of it, we have to put the netting. Which is not something I'm looking forward to. Oh, don't be blown away. Let's pull the two pieces out. I already pre-cut them and moved them over here. All right, I gotta go. It's after 10. Shit. Should I stop? Let's see where the netting is. I don't want to do the netting. I don't mind cutting this thing out. I just don't want to do the netting part. Yeah, it's got to be cut to fit. That's going to be a lot of tinkering. I don't want to do it right now. It's not like I'm not going to do it. I want to do it right now. And the thing to do it is I think I'm going to pre-cut it in paper. Get the paper where I want it, and then I can trim the other one based on the paper. And what I really don't want to do with it is I've got to deal with it super glue. I just don't like super glue. Not a friend. I'm gonna go ahead and scrub right now. So, but we got this thing nearly complete. It's a cute little vehicle. And I have another one of these to do. I actually have a Puma that's already pre-built.